I'm going to show you a common problem with overlays. So here is my web page. It's pretty straightforward. I have a body, a div. This div has on it class equals bike, and then I've got some text. And then I link to my style sheet. In my style sheet, I identify the div by class. So .bike matches class equals bike. And I have a background that I put on there, and that background is showing up. And then I decided it was hard to read, so I would put a background color over it, and I set up this test background color that was transparent, but it's not showing up. So the reason it's not showing up is that each element in your tree of HTML can only have one background. So actually, if you run this page, you'll see quickly a flicker. There's the blue, and then there's the picture. So what the web browser does is it uses the color until it can find the image, and then it uses the image. So only one thing can be used for the background. Because internet is not a stable thing, CSS is full of properties that sort of back each other up. So for example, if all of the CSS failed, let's say I made a typo and it failed, my web page will still render, or will it? Just without any of the style. And when the style works, it will still render. And if that image were broken, let me break the image URL, then the color shows up. So that's why you can't put color and image on the same thing. They're meant to be a backup for each other. So the model then is, if you want to have two things, like if you want to have a background and then a colored overlay, you need to make two elements. And div is kind of the typical way to do this. And then if we use class names, you can make it really clear what your elements are. So now what I've done is I've said I've got a class equals bike, that'll have the bike image, and then I've got a class equals dark overlay, that will have the overlay. So let's come back here and I'll make a new rule, dark overlay, and that rule will have my background color. All right, now I have the overlay on it. One thing that's a little disappointing is the overlay isn't filling it because I had the height on the original rule and not on the overlay. So I could just move the height. Let's see if making a, can I just use 100% to make this fill the box? I can. So 100% will say dark overlay will fill whatever container it goes in.